It's Jen Suzuki, and I'm in the industry. I meet some of the greatest leaders out there, dealer execs, dealers, GMs, and I'm bringing them in the studio to talk to me about what's making their business pop, what's accelerating their growth. I'm sharing my own personal strategies for your sales teams, so I'm ready to get after it. Are you? Hey, welcome back, listeners. So I've got two guests today, and these are guys that I've worked with for many, many, many years. These are sales managers at one of the largest Kia dealerships in the country. I met these guys before they even ranked nationally, and they've done a lot of things to innovate and inspire, staying progressive and staying relevant and keeping teams engaged. And one of the things that I've worked on with this team is getting a more consistent training approach with the sales managers leading that initiative. I'm going to let these guys introduce themselves, but these are really top tier sales managers, in my opinion, willing to do what it takes to get ahead and to challenge themselves personally. And I want to hear a little bit about this journey on how they make training such a consistent effort in their dealership, what it means to the team, what it's meant to the company growth. I mean, I'll let them share their accolades and their stats and everything. But JP, you want to start first, maybe give a little background, let me know where you're at in the store and where you guys have come. You know, I mean, you guys have really come a long way. Welcome, JP.
Hey, Jen. Again, I'm JP. Been in the business for over 10 years. Been at City Field Orlando for 3 years since I moved down from Chicago. And we literally have all worked together. It's a team atmosphere. We're led by a great guy, Raul Gomila. You know our general manager personally. You know how he is. It's all a team aspect. And everybody comes in and we just go ahead and we get right to work.
All right. Well, thank you for being here, and thank you for being willing to share your time and your insights and your expertise with us today. All right. Then we got Gabe. He's always, he's always there, right there with the team, sending me videos on WhatsApp all the time.
All the time. Well, you said it, my name is Gabe, like the little thing says here.
What is it?
I'm the sales manager for the number one Kia store in Orlando, number one Kia store in the nation for CPO. I'm proud to say I'm the leader of an amazing team and been doing this for short of 7 years, roughly, always with Kia. The example of starting from the bottom. I mean, I started just as a salesperson, built my way up, and I'm happy to have the opportunity to be in your podcast today, Jen.
Well, I'm so thrilled to have you guys both here today. And let's just jump into this thing. I mean, you guys are running a pretty big sales team. How many people are on your team?
We're running right now short of 30.
Okay, 30.
Yep. For the volume that we have, I know that probably the people watching us right now, they're going to be like, that's crazy. That's such a small team, but we make it happen.
Okay, so put this into perspective, JP. You got 30 salespeople. How many desk managers? How many managers, excluding F&I?
All right, so we got 4 desk managers. We have 3 closers. We have 2 used car managers, which are very great. John Murphy, Christian Britos. So I mean, we are a fully staffed machine ready to go.
Okay. And tell me about your growth, JP. This past year, 2023, we just closed it out. Where are you guys sitting as far as your ranks? What have you been able to achieve this past year?
Well, we achieved top 5 in the country in new volume-wise for the year. Number 1 in UPO for the year. Is a testament to Raul and John, the way that they have put everything together. The closest number 2 CPO store, I think, was about 100 behind us, Gabe, this year.
Wow.
Yep, correct.
We literally bought into the program, did it, and it just totally took off from managers to salesmen.
Okay. I mean, you guys killed it this year. I mean, really. I mean, if I can think about when we first started working together, it was just like a few years ago. I don't even feel like you guys were nationally ranked. I mean, at this point, right? I mean, in 3 short years, I mean, I don't know. I'm throwing numbers off because my years collide. I mean, but I'm going to say in 3 short years, you guys top 5 in the country from not even being seen.
Yeah.
Correct.
It's totally getting everybody to buy into it. I mean, it's keep moving up the ladder. The salesmen even ask us, okay, where are we compared to them? Where are we compared to them? So they have the same drive we do to get to the top.
Well, I love the cohesiveness of this team. And like you said, led by Raul. I mean, this guy is a beast. He's a monster. I mean, this guy literally is just, he's such a powerhouse. He's got high expectations. I mean, I never seen anybody move so fast and have such high expectations, but you always meet the mark. You know, I mean, being able to push over 500 units, over and over and over again, that's really remarkable, really. Okay, so you guys, let's dial into this one thing. And I, of course, it's a passion for me. Training for me is something that I feel like there's a lack of it in the dealerships. You guys have been in the business outside of your role right now, so you've seen other dealerships. You've been around the block. You've been a salesperson. You've come up in this business, so you know what's up. And you worked in the biggest markets. So here's the thing. I feel like a lot of times sales managers, they come up just like you said, Gabe. I was a salesperson, and here you are, destroying these numbers. And it's like, how do you get there? How do you learn these skills? Like, and then you think back, I think back to my sales career, and I think I never even had a mentor. I never had a manager in my core. I never had anybody showing me how to sell cars, how to figure everything out. And it caused so much problems for me, so much struggle, so much stress. But you guys have really taken this whole idea, this concept of, hey, we got to be consistent. We got to give them education. We got to be there with these guys. We got to create activities. Tell me about your training infrastructure. Like, how does this thing evolve? Was it even there 3 years ago? How do you get here?
So I'm glad you touched into that. So one thing I want to say, especially on the fact of the topic of if there's a lack of training in dealerships. And I don't think sales managers do it on purpose. I think it's just we think there's too much going around that we don't take the time to actually just slow down and say, you know what? How about we stop making the same mistake that everybody has been making with us for the years, right? Mm-hmm. For X amount of years.
Decades.
Like you said, I've been in the business 7 years, but I can tell you that I've learned more in the last 3 years working with Raul than I learned in the other 4.
Yeah.
It's because nobody took the time to actually just say, hey, Gabe, let me go ahead and train you and show you how it's done. So that's basically what we do. We don't want to make that mistake. We don't want to go ahead and put other things to the side because, oh, don't worry, they know how to sell cars because we have this guy that we hired him and he just sold 12 cars. He's good. He's a salesperson. Well, how can we make him an 18, 20 car guy?
That's what I'm talking about.
So we take the time to slow down. And we won't lie to you, Jen. It happens sometimes where you think other things are more important. But I mean, Raul always has us there in a short slack, and then basically tells us, "Hey, make sure this training gets completed." And this is when we send you the videos, and we've seen it personally where we take these guys from 12 to 15, from 15 to 18, from 18 to 20, and I learned so much because Raul took the time to do that with me. So and with JP as well. In this last 3 years. Like I told you, we've learned way more than we learned in our whole entire career in the car business.
Okay, so JP, what Gabe's saying here is that top down, right? Raul, he brought you in, and he's over there coaching and training you to be a manager, to be a trainer yourself, and really nurturing your abilities to become a skull crusher on the desk.
Yes. The one thing every morning at 8:30 in the morning, we are all in his office. And the one thing that he does with us is it's like Moneyball. Everybody's seen the movie Moneyball, right?
Yes.
So if you're looking at your salesman, and what I did last year was in June, I pulled their year-to-date stats. I sat down with every salesman and you've taken 42 ups. Your average is 42 ups a month. You're selling 17 cars a month off of that. Narrowing everything all together so you can kind of see the weaknesses and the strengths of your work, so you can work on your weaknesses with them. So you see, it's for salesmen, if it's right in front of them and they're like, oh man, I'm doing this, you can focus in on that. And that's what he's taught us. He taught us the time management aspect of breaking your day down, making sure you're fitting everything into your day. So when you leave, you've accomplished all the goals that you're trying to do for the day. And that's one thing I will always take from Raul. Raul taught me that right when I walked in the door, and it's helped me immensely manage a lot of things in the store.
Okay. So what you're saying is time management has become a focal point through leadership. And what you're saying is that you get together at the same time every day and you start mapping out, you're looking at your exact numbers. You're looking at your sales team's numbers and you're saying, yo, you have 42 up so far month to date or for last month. You put 17 deals together. You pinpoint there's a couple weaknesses here. Now, how does that translate to time management? How does that translate to daily activities? What does that look like? And if you're looking at it every single day, does this change in the direction that you steer your teammates?
It's kind of honing in on something. So if there's deals missing there and you're sitting with your salesman and you're making their calls, like our salesmen have a binder. They have a binder with their guest sheet. They have a binder with the last pencil that the manager has left them with. So we could go up to a salesman and say, hey, Luis, I want to see your binder right now. Let's go through it right now. How close were you with this customer on the deal? How far away from you were in payment? Was this something with the trade that we could do? So when we make our calls with our salesmen, we have our salesmen sitting there listening to how we're doing it. And it makes you feel good as a manager when you walk past them and they're actually saying the same phone scripts that they listened to, that they heard from you.
Mm-hmm. So you guys are split up into teams. So you're talking about you've got a handful of guys that you're working with every single morning and you're looking at their binders and you're looking at their stats and you're deciding on direction and you're calling their customers and you're really showing them a more one-on-one approach to building their business. How far back do you go in that binder? Because a lot of times, we look at the here and now, we're like 72 hours, but as we've all found out, a lot of these customers, it take more than 72 hours to pull the trigger, so a lot of times, when we do save deals and stuff like this, it's within the last 24 hours, 48 hours. I mean, you'd be hard pressed to even go back even further than that, but let alone 2 weeks than 30 days. How do you address that?
We usually go about 30 days in the binder. So
wow.
We have customers for the full month, because you got to think about it. If someone is shopping different brands, different makes, different models, right? They're going to do their due diligence. To me, how I look at it is, if a family has the weekend off, they're going to go shop on Saturday, they're going to shop on Sunday, and then they're going to think about it during the week, and then they're going to make their decision the next week. Why are we saying that customer is no longer a buyer right away, just because it's been longer than 72 hours? So that customer sometimes needs to be educated a little bit more. Hey, you know what? The one thing that our salesmen do, which I've coached them to, is when the customer does leave, send them a little 30-second video of all the hot buttons on the car that they came in on. So whether it's a K5 and it's safety features, my name is Ernesto. I'm from City Key. I want to say thank you again for stopping and seeing the K5. I want to send you a short video of the vehicle you looked at and all the features that were important to you. That sets you apart. That's what we want to train our salesmen to do, is set themselves apart from the competition.
Mm-hmm. And even be there to support them in loading their lips, helping them see how you do these phone calls, how you follow up with people. A lot of times we're like, just follow up with them. And we're like, salespeople are like, I don't know. What does that even mean? Like, call them. Hey, how are you? Still in the market? You can't be like basic today. There has to be more substance to that. Switching gears a little bit, Gabe. So we see your morning, we see the consistency of the process of nurturing that sales team. Now you're like, all right, look, we got to get the whole squad together. Because as you mentioned, you send me videos and you record your team trainings. And I'd like to really hear a little about what these team trainings look like. So you set like a date and time, which manager is leading these training sessions? How long do they last? How do you keep them on point? Give me the deets on the sitch.
So basically a good summary and piggybacking a little onto what JP said, you can't manage what you can't measure, going back into the stats that we were talking about. So we measure all our salespeople so we're able to manage them. As far as timing, I won't forget this. Around a year ago, I met with you, and you gave me a great trick that to this day I use. Keep all my training meetings as short as possible, 10 to 12 minutes. 10 to 12 minutes is your engaging time with the people itself. Ever since then, I love it. Why? Because we as well, like every dealership had, we had the problem that at a moment you lose them. Which I think is probably the hardest part when you're training people. You start getting the head movements, the
hey, Gabe, you kind of cut out. So can you just go back and say that again?
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
But you start losing their focus basically. So 10 to 12 minutes. As far as who does it, usually it's me and JP. Now, of course, we delegate one day. Maybe we want someone to train on phone calls. So we have a manager that we think will be their forte. train on how he does his phone calls based on his numbers, based on the performance that he has, because that's what the salespeople are looking for, you know. So who's my stronger phone call guy? This guy. Okay, bring him in, have him do the training that day, and that's what we record and send. But we make it uniform. They know what they're expecting. Also, for example, you gave me this trick. I start majority of my trainings with either an engaging activity or something where I can just get their attention. Like, let's go ahead and role play. Who wants to go ahead and get some lunch today? Oh, what do you mean by that? I got $20 in Longhorn Steakhouse right now. Who's ready to win this? Who can do the best pitch? And those are the things we use to actually keep them engaged and have them focus on training itself.
Let me have you go back because you cut out again. I think it's a Wi-Fi issue. But kind of go back and say you learned this technique about, just kind of getting them engaged and having an activity. Go ahead.
Correct. So we get them engaged. One thing I learned was start the actual training with an engaging activity. So, for example, hey, I got some lunch for someone here that thinks they can do the best role playing. Let's go ahead and role play. All right, I'm the one on the phone. Hey, how you doing, Luis? Hey, yeah. This is Gabriel from City Kia. Start role playing with them, and you'll see automatically how they all get excited. They're looking to get some lunch. But after that, the training itself just becomes more entertaining, and I feel it actually gets stuck with them more when you do it that way.
Just to give our audience a bit of a visual, okay? You're in a conference room. Well, this is really your lunch room, and it's a big room, and you got everybody. It's not just your team. I'm guessing. I mean, when I see your videos, it looks like it's the whole squad.
Full house.
Full house. Okay, so you got 30 salespeople, you got a bunch of managers, and then you're in the front of the room, and you've decided on a topic, and maybe what's one of your specialties, Gabe?
As far as what?
Your training topics, handling objections.
So I love handling objections.
Yeah.
I will say that's my number one. And I love it. I just if you see my videos, majority of them will be handling objections.
Agreed.
Because I just like the fact of we see, I mean, JP knows this, you know this too, Jen. We see anywhere on a slow day 40 and 50 ups a day.
Yeah.
And then when you have a 35% closing ratio, what happens to those customers that leave? And it'll be alive. My salespeople tell me, oh no, it's just all of them couldn't buy. No, I wanna hear what that customer told you that made you think that they couldn't buy a car. And we've all heard absolutely everything in this world, but sometimes you're just not paying attention to, oh shoot, Gabe taught me this morning. Let me go ahead and use it. One of my best trainings, and I'll never forget this, it was probably like 4 weeks ago. And I was training on handling objections. And mind you, we try to do training at least 3 times a week, but this one stuck with me.
Okay.
And I'm telling them what to do when a customer tells you, hey, I actually need to go talk to my wife. I mean, back to I need to talk to my wife. And I went through the training. That was the training that day. Well, a couple hours after, salesperson comes up to me. They just sold a car. He's smiling. He's happy. He goes, hey, Gabe. I'm like, what's up, man? I sold the car because of you. I'm like, what do you mean by that? Well, what you told me this morning, it was like this guy was in our training. He's seen the whole role play. That's how I felt, because he told me everything exactly how you said it. And I just shot him back exactly with the answer that you gave me and how to handle that objection. And the guy said, you know what? It makes sense. And he signed and bought the car. When I heard that, I'm like, that was a good job.
That's the tie back that that the training is working when you can actually see the results from, a team member. So let me just for our viewers, our listeners that are listening in. Okay, so you pick an objection. I got to go home and talk to my spouse. All right, you put it up in the front of the room. You ask somebody to role play it. So I've watched this video. Somebody steps up because they want their lunch. You got an incentive attached to this project. Okay, they come in there and they just walk you through what they're going to say. And then what I noticed that you do is that you ask other people to get involved. Would you do something different? Give me another way that you would handle this. And people are throwing out feedback. Hey, this is what I liked. I would have did it this way. Okay. And then you swoop in and you're like, all right, this is how we need to do it. This is how you do it. And you're giving them like real actions to be able to handle that scenario. And again, you're staying within this under 15 benchmark. So, things happen pretty fast, but I notice a lot of times too, that you write stuff down, right. You use a flip chart, you write stuff down, or you get the, so tell me more about that too. And if you want to jump in on this, JP, please feel free, because I noticed that you guys all have a different style. You guys do things a little bit different, but at the end of the day, people were going to want to know, how the frick do you teach a lesson in 10 minutes, 12 minutes, and actually get them talking, and then actually give them constructive criticism and give them a new pathway to handle that specific objection that they're going to go remember, and go back and actually use. Because a lot of times my managers always try to teach me stuff like that, and then it was in the heat of the moment. It's do or die. I'm under pressure, and I go back and I relay it, and it's not like I actually remembered it. I'm like, fuck yeah, I did my job. Okay, and then I don't remember it again. So I don't know, JP, you want to jump in on that?
I mean, a lot of it with the team, it's a team atmosphere. So it gets the vets involved, because let's just be honest, the vets are always the hardest to train.
Yeah.
Nice. Yes. They know so much that isn't so. But when we're going through our training and you're seeing everybody get involved, and let's say that one of our veterans here really good, Armando chimes in. Armando never says anything. But when Armando says something, the younger guys listen to him. And the younger guys pick it up. So it's not like our salesmen are getting just everything from the management. They're getting everything of how to handle the objections from their peers. So that 10 to 12-minute training session is more or less, it's like a group session. It's not just the management. It's everybody all together saying, hey, you know what? I tried this and it worked. Or I tried this and it worked. Or Gabe told me this and it worked. Or JP told me how to do this and it worked. And everybody gets together, and we kind of just have one big group session there, and everybody's just figuring out exactly how to get over something or how to work at something.
So do you call people out, or do you always ask for a volunteer?
So we ask for a volunteer, right? Majority of the times they won't stand up.
Yeah.
We all know that. So I just call people out, like JP said. I will either call someone out that I know never wants to actually participate, because the other ones that see that person never participating, or one of the veterans, for example, that they think they know everything, right? When you call them out, then the ones under him, they're like, oh, shoot, if this guy did it, then I can do it. One thing that I find that works a lot on the question that you asked, Jen, making them laugh.
Okay.
I try to start all my trainings by making them laugh and going personal. I mean, yes, I'm the one training, but I take my manager title off, and I go personal with them. So listen, I'm just here to help you make money. I'm here to teach you what to do when actually you have a customer in front of you. When you get personal with them, you start noticing that they're not talking to Gabe, the manager. They're talking to Gabe, the guy that is trying to make me better. And that's exactly what I use in each training that I do, because it just gets them engaged. You said I write a lot. Yeah, I write behind me, because a lot of people are visual.
Yeah.
They like seeing you write into something. They like seeing you actually talking about different things. And that's the reason why we use that.
So you're writing things down on a flip chart. You're making your points. You're getting them to give you answers. I notice a lot of times when you engage them and you're asking, hey, what would you do? Or, hey, what's your answer to this question? And you write it down. So it feels very inclusive, that everybody's opinion matters. Doesn't matter whether you like the answer or not. You wrote it down. And then they've got something to reflect back on and look at. And then you're giving them, a couple different real examples. I think that being able to connect with people from a perspective of, hey, man, I just want to see you make money. I could give you a lot of different ways to do this. You get the same end game. Here's how I would do it. And then asking some of the other veterans that have the numbers, how would you do it differently? Things like this really get everybody participating. Like you said, it feels more like a team effort, that they're not just learning your close or your way to handle objection or your sales process, but they're getting feedback from other people in the way that they're handling these exact scenarios as well. And oftentimes you learn a lot from people that just, look, we all do things differently, but if you don't pull it out of people, then you only get one angle.
Correct. And I mean, you have to push them sometimes, but when they give you that feedback is when you start noticing that your training actually gets them better and gets them to push more to actually accomplish the things that you're telling them to do.
JP, do you think that with that mentality, when you walk in that room, you got 30 guys staring at you, you got a wide variety of experience levels, and you've got some heavy hitters, so to get everybody to encourage each other, clap and praise on each other, showing some love, and that is really something that really strikes me all the time, is the support that everybody has. How do you create that camaraderie, in a team training environment? How do you get there?
I mean, it's honestly just showing you have your salesman's back. I mean, if you go ahead, teach a salesman the correct way and the right way, and the salesmen are always going to listen. They're going to show that respect for you. So for us, we all were kind of brought into this level together by Raul. Like, we've all been together. We've all gone through the trenches, and we're every time that we think we're getting out of the trenches, we still got another couple feet to climb. But
that's a fact.
We're doing it together. And the one thing which we do a lot is our finance managers are involved in training, because our finance managers were our closers before. So when they got promoted to finance, they never stopped. So instead of just having our closers, which are our 3, we also have 3 of our finance managers that do training. So it's always somebody that can change it up, change the verbiage, change the tone, change the mentality. So they're kind of not getting the same thing over and over again.
So I love that. I mean, I love bringing everybody in to be part of the initiative, especially as you have mentioned, people rise up internally. And so even though they might be in finance, they were once a closer on the floor. So they've already been through all this too. And,
your finance managers are your best closers too.
Yeah.
So they're a great tool. They're a great asset. So, which is the reason why you need to, and sorry to interrupt you, Jen, but it's a great topic. You need to know how to measure your customers. You need to know who you're dealing with. I mean, even though I know a lot, I also know the fact that I'm probably not the right guy for every single customer.
Agreed.
So maybe I have this customer that you, Jen, will be the perfect for this TO. So hey, let me present you my manager. This is actually Jennifer. She has something great to tell you about. And you'll come in and probably kill it with this customer that I was not able to get absolutely nothing in the last 20 minutes. But it also takes a real manager to say, you know what? I don't click with this guy. Let me go ahead and
let me find somebody else.
Yep. Different face. It happens to all of us.
Agreed.
One night we were working. It was me and you on the desk. I was helping a customer. You were helping a customer. We both looked at each other and said, we need each other to TO the customer. Here, you go online. We're going to set this up. Ready, go, break. Went in, we closed each other's deals. Just like that. So we don't have that mentality of we're the best.
That's your job. If I can't do it, nobody can.
we don't have that mentality. We all just love to work together as a team.
I love the infusion of the F&I, and if I think I heard you correctly, you're not afraid to go to them, especially if they are available, and say, yo, you might be a better fit for this customer. Come on, help me out. And pull your finance managers into the mix as well.
And the one thing, like with our finance managers, if they don't have a deal, they're on the floor with the salesman. They're looking at everything with the salesman. They're looking at their books. They're looking at their binders. Or a salesman might go grab Joe Lacanato and say, hey, listen, can you call this customer for me? I know you're going to be perfect. And Joe will go ahead and call the customer. Just because you're in finance, you're away in that office, doesn't mean you can't come out and go do the same thing you used to do.
And they're prepping for their next deal too. So you don't know that customer that you're in front of could be the same customer in your office. So you already build rapport with that person. And it's so easy at the moment that they step into your office because it's a familiar face.
Yes. Excellent. Awesome. So, all right. Tell me, so do you guys dedicate a certain day? You said 3 days a week, under 15 minutes. Is it a specific time of the day that you do these? And then how do you figure out what your topic's going to be and who's going to lead this, 15-minute class?
So each one of us do it different, I'll say. Every morning, that's the time we pick. So because everybody's there.
Yeah.
A problem in every single dealership is that as soon as you let them go out of the break room, one of them's going to grab a customer, the other one's going to be doing a test drive, the other one's in the phones, the other one's here, no lunch or this. So we have them all there. They're engaged. They're already in that facility itself. So as far as what we prep for, I do it different. I love improvising. I don't like prepping for anything. I love improvising when it comes to training because I feel
you feel the vibe.
Yes, I'm giving
Something's
them
happening.
It's different when you have a sheet in front of you and you're just reading off a paper. I don't feel it. So whatever I feel my weakness was throughout that week, that's what my team is going to be on. So if I feel they were weak in test drives, I'm going to teach you how to do a correct test drive. If I feel you were weak in walkarounds, let me teach you how to do $1 million walkaround. That's my job, because that's the reason why I don't like saying, "Oh, yo, next Tuesday I'm gonna go ahead and train and phone calls." No, they always need help in something. I need to find that something and just go for it and tackle it.
How long did it take you guys to get this initiative down? Because a lot of times it's a great idea. It's a great idea. Yeah, we get all like, yeah, let's do this thing, and then we're like all hot on it for like a week, and then it fizzles out. And somebody's like, oh, we got deals in the showroom, and it becomes other priorities, and then there's no consistency, and then there's no accountability. So how does that work for you guys? I mean, how long did it take you guys to get a consistency down, and what did it take to get there?
So it's the moment that you understand there's always something. Always something shows up. So the moment that you understand, it's like, hey, listen, this actually is as important as any other thing, then it probably took us, I would say, 2-3 weeks to have the consistency of absolutely 3 times a week do the training. Why? Because you start noticing it's like, oh, here, I need help with a deal. So now you're like, okay, we'll leave it for tomorrow. Then tomorrow it's like, hey, so-and-so showed up. There's a heat case. Oh, okay, then we'll leave it for tomorrow. So
that's
there's always an excuse. Now, everybody knows that whenever we're in that break room, don't come in, don't ask for help. Why? Because training is as important as that deal, is as important as that heat case, is as important as that customer.
That's hard hitting, my friend, right there. You have to have boundaries. Yo, we're in a meeting. We're doing this training thing. This is the priority. And if you don't have boundaries, you got people coming in and out. You got people on their phones. You got people being pulled out. It just is distract. You're only doing this for 15 minutes, know. So I do think that that's a key part of making it effective. So look, you guys have become top 5 in the nation for Kia. And you've made a lot of changes in the culture in the last 3 years to get these sort of results. I can tell you, very, very little turnover. You might know some exact numbers, but every time I'm there, I'm like, it's the same people, which I find extraordinary. And you just shoot me the real here. If you were to say there's 3 things that contribute to being able to reach that level of success in such a short period of time, in my opinion, what would you attribute the 3 things to?
Well, first, it's the way that Raul leads us. That's the first thing. The way that the way how Raul is with us.
Can you be specific? Be specific. What do you mean by that?
The way that he trains us and the way that he teaches us to go about our day. Like Raul always tells us all the time, I'm here to train you. I'm here to guide you. There's always a lesson behind everything I'm doing with him. And you kind of get it. It's a great mind game that he plays because it makes you level up. He's always making you better than you were the day before. And that's what we try to instill in our salesmen the same way. And through that, becoming top 5 in the country and new and becoming number 1 in certified, the salesmen look at us and they trust us. We're here. We're all here as a team. We don't want to go backwards. What do we got to do to go forward? Raul's always pushing us to go forward. Raul's already put the goals out for next year. We're going forward. That train's going to keep going. We know that. So our salesmen are just like, okay, how can I get better? What can they teach me now to get over this? And I have one salesman, Luis Arraez. He started selling cars in June, and he did 120 units from June to December. And he already said, my goal next year is 240 cars. And he's in the business for 6 months.
Yeah.
So, how are you going to get there? Today, what I did in kind of my meeting was, what's your goals this year? Write them down. Break them down into quarters. What are you trying to do this year? You can stay at that, because if you're looking at it for 12 months, you're going to lose sight of it. Break it down to 3 months. What do you want to do?
There you go.
Let's see exactly where you're at. But
okay, see,
testament to that. He has worked so hard to get to that 120. He's like, I want more. And that's the same way we are as a team. We all want more.
But I think that everybody wants more. It's not like we were like, oh yeah, I want to make less money this year. Like said nobody ever. So we always want more. But here's the thing: if you don't have a game plan to get there, and I think what you're saying to us is that, look, I got a guy who's is in my face all day, every day, making sure I see the goal. I know the price. He's setting the benchmarks, and we are living by them throughout the day. And my daily activities have to lead to that end game, that end result. And every team member on your team has to be playing that same game and seeing what it's going to take to meet the overall group, goals. And now you're breaking it down individually and saying, hey, let's not look at it by the year, but let's break it down by the quarter. And what I'm guessing is that it's a little bit further, because when you keep coming back to the word time management, and it's a thing, it's a thing that a lot of people don't understand because they're on their Instagram and TikTok all day. And I understand that, it's like, is that helping me sell cars? In some cases it is. In most cases it's not. But if I don't have a game plan for my day about who I need to call, who I need to get back in front of my manager, I need to get a TO on this. I need to go back, resurrect some stuff from 2 weeks ago. I need to be sending these texts and these videos. Blah, 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 blah. I mean, each guy's got to have a pretty significant busy day and not a whole lot of time for Instagramming, in my opinion, in order to make these numbers work. So I'm guessing that you're sort of over there, having to manage time, and people are going to be people.
Correct. And something I wanted to add to it, you asked us the 3 things that will actually minimize our turnover. I'm sorry. And I'll say is discipline, consistency, and respect.
Love it.
Those are the 3 things: discipline, consistency, and respect. We are disciplined with our process. We are disciplined with our salespeople, disciplined with the way of selling cars, because you have to be disciplined with that. You have to be consistent in everything you do, because like you said, one day I can wake up and say, you know what, today we're going to go ahead and make it a great day, and we're going to kill it, and we're going to actually do some crazy training, and I'm going to have some team building activity. Well, that was today. How about you start doing that every day? And then respect, as long as you respect them, right? I understand I'm your manager, but they still earn my respect. They still have respect, which we've all been to a lot of stores. It happens where sometimes management can disrespect salespeople because they're salespeople. That doesn't happen in my team. So I build their characters by those 3 things: discipline, consistency, and respect. You achieve that and you master those 3, and you'll have people forever. I mean, the same group of people I had this Thanksgiving, I had it the year prior and the year before that. We have new faces, yes, but we didn't change the faces that were there. We just had to, of course, add to the team and make them bigger.
And I'm guessing that some of this is, time management and discipline and the consistency is a lot of maintaining the skill sets and expanding the skill sets of each individual. And so when you're looking at their binders and you're looking at them as an individual and saying, this is an individual weakness, this is a area that we need to pinpoint, tying it back to daily activities allows them to get to that next level. Because as you mentioned earlier, we've watched many guys go from 12 to 15, and 15 car guys go to 18, and 18 go to 25. So that has to be the focus has to be on improving skill sets, which I believe ties back to spending time with people, and also focusing on areas of the sale that become weaknesses that people need to spend time learning to get to the next level.
Correct.
Oh, yeah. So I mean, you see that a lot now, especially with the market change. I mean, look at this. A year and a half ago, customers were coming in asking you how much you were selling it over MSRP. And now they're just coming in, seeing how low they could get it under MSRP. Some salesmen were...
Okay, hang on one sec. You guys cut out. Just start over again.
Okay, so about a year and a half, 2 years ago, customers were coming in saying, how much MSRP are you going to sell me the car for? And now it's how much under MSRP are you going to sell the car for? It's all about training. It's all about process. That's how you're going to hold their profit now. It's back to what it used to be.
JP, I'm so sorry to cut you off, but we had a major blank there with the Wi-Fi. I'm not sure. But can you start off with the market changes again?
So with the market changes from 2 years ago, when customers were coming in saying, okay, how much over MSRP are you selling the car for? Because there were only 3 on the ground. Now everybody has inventory. Customers are coming in saying, how much under MSRP are you going to sell the car for?
Yeah, I want a discount.
A lot of these salesmen were brought in during that time. So we had to totally switch the mindset before even the market changed. So when the market changed, we didn't skip a beat. We kept going and our volume went up because of it. And our growth still went up because of it. Our average per copy went up. Why? Because you're preparing for the changes, because this business is just so different to where it could flip on a dime. And if you're not prepared for it, you end up suffering over it.
Yeah. And if you don't address it on the spot and nurture it, then it just kind of falls by the wayside and people are using old closes in new situations and then you're just old.
That's it.
That's right.
Yeah. Any parting advice or strategies that you could offer other dealership leaders that might help enhance their sales team performance and achieve the extraordinary results that you've been able to achieve?
Take the time to listen to them. I will say that. Take the time to listen to your people. Majority of the times you can accomplish more by listening to them and actually analyzing your team than just stepping there and say, you know what, let's sell cars. Take the time to actually humble yourself and listen to your team, and your best trainings are going to come out of that. Because once you achieve the communication with your team, then you're going to notice what they need help in and what they need help with. And it's going to help you a lot to actually guide them in the way of success.
Great advice. Thank you.
The one thing I always look at is, even though I'm a manager, I still think of myself as that salesman that wanted to learn and wanted to get better. Just because you're a manager, you're a senior salesman, doesn't mean that you don't have something to offer to somebody else that could help them. So always remember where you started, where you came from.
Build people up. I say it all the time.
Correct.
That's your job, is to make them better than you.
Yep.
Teach them what you know.
That's right.
Keep learning yourself.
That's right.
Well, guys, thank you so much for this. This is so exciting. I just love. This is so relatable to so many people, and I just want you guys to know how much I'm always so proud to work with you. I can't tell you how many times I drop a City Kia name in just my daily activities, because I'm always reflecting back on what greatness looks like. And you stand out so far above the competition. I've worked with thousands and thousands of stores in my career. You guys are right up there with what greatness is and looks like, and it doesn't do anything but get better. When you got this kind of mentality, this is a winning mentality. This is a championship team led by a champion. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Jen. Thanks for the opportunity as well.
Thank you.
Thank you. If you like these episodes and my sales game techniques, you should snatch up our latest dealer education program I'm hosting. It's called Jen's Remote Classes, and it's a 1-hour, once-a-week class with me alongside other dealerships, all pursuing the same end game to achieve top 10% status in your dealership. For more info, hit me up. All my contact info's in the show notes. I want to hear from you. And follow Dealer Talk with Jen Suzuki right now to get notified when episodes like this one drop. This is Jen on the podcast Dealer Talk with Jen Suzuki. See ya!